All of you have walked through these doors before, and most of you have walked out of these doors. As a result, our official title for the season is Luke's Big Brother 18 Unfinished Business. All of you have been selected as players who I thought had more story to tell. 294 days ago, 14 All-Star Big Brother players moved back into the house to have another action-packed season of Big Brother. After a season of unforgettable blindsides, twists, and turns, there are only 3 remaining. Brody bounced back from a nearly game-ending backdoor attempt. He has spent the entire game riding the middle. Will the jury respect him? Christian won several competitions at the start of the season, but in the second half, he decided to throw challenges because of his strong social connections. Will his social connections help him get to the end and also claim the win? Dylan entered the game with a pre-jury finish in Big Brother 15. At the start of the game, he had difficulty owning up to misleading the other side of the house, but since then, Dylan has become a major mover and shaker in the game. His big moves and well-timed alliances have brought him all the way to the final 3. With the end just in reach, can Dylan overpower these 2 seasoned veterans? Tonight, one of these 3 will be crowned the winner of Big Brother Unfinished Business. Alright, final 3. This is the final HOH competition, part 1, accuracy. So you will start over on this end. Everyone gets a tennis ball, and you have to try to land in your corresponding bucket. Once that you land in your bucket, you can run over to the lasso station, where you must try to lasso one of the 2 buckets. If you don't get one of the 2 buckets, you're out of the first part of the competition. After you lasso your bucket, you can run over to the 3rd station, and the first person to knock down the king brick moves on to part 3 of the final HOH competition. Does everyone understand?
And then the 2 who don't move on go against each other again?
Yes.
And then there's a 3rd competition?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And go.
Okay.
Christian has it and moves forward. Christian and Dylan still going. Brody moves to the lasso.
Come on, man. Why are you caught?
Alright, Brody gets a bucket. Brody misses the king. Brody misses the king. Christian misses. Okay, Brody hits the king and moves on to part 3 of the final HOH competition.
Oh my god, you saw me slip?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Alright, house guests, for part 2 of the final HOH competition, you must build a 3x3x3 cube of the pieces right in front of you. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, it's a 3. I got it.
Alright, and Christian has his cue and moves on to part 3 of the final HOH competition. Okay, house guests, this is the final challenge of the season. I will ask you a question. The answer will be a number or a name. You know what to do. You are a number, slap my hand. I'll ask you for your answer. If you're right, you get a point. If not, you can go back, touch a chair, and just keep running back and forth until someone gets it. Okay, so question number 1. Not counting the final 4, how many unanimous votes were there?
2.
No.
3.
No.
1.
No.
4.
No.
5.
Correct. Point for Brody.
That?
How many people won head of household twice?
3.
No.
4.
2. Correct. Point for
No, Brody was head of household twice.
He was not head of household twice.
I was.
He was.
Final 4.
When?
Final 4.
Final 4. Can you specifically say that I was right?
So he won.
Alright.
That's
Alright.
recorded.
So I made a mistake and Thomas was right. So the correct answer was 3 and Brody.
No, I think Christian still gets that point because he buzzed in first at 3, right?
He did.
I think that is.
Is that what
I said 4.
You said 4?
He said 3. I think he went down. I went up. So still Christian's
He
point.
was his first guess.
So I won't even include this.
Oh no, you're including it.
Who was HOH when the Halley's Comet twist was played?
James!
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Christian. How many people were still in during Dee Dee's first HOH?
12.
No.
11.
Correct. Point for Brody. Christian doesn't even guess. Who went home on the first unanimous vote?
Mitch.
Correct. Point for Brody. Who was HOH when Laura's vote was canceled?
James?
D.
Correct.
4.
That's 4.
Alright, that's 4. Congratulations, Brody. You are the final HOH of Luke's Big Brother 18.
Did it.
Alright, let's
I have
answer
to
the
get rid of
winner.
it when I guess that helps.
Good job. Good job.
It is time for the final eviction of Luke's Big Brother 18 Unfinished Business. Congratulations, Brody. You are the winner of the final head of household competition, and as a result, you get the final vote to evict, either Christian or Dylan. So, before Brody casts his vote, you each have one last chance to plead your case to Brody. So, Christian, get started.
It's no secret we've been together through this whole game. I've also been with Dylan and a lot of other people. We've all been close, and I feel like there's not much left to say. We've been on the same page for a while, so do what you want. I know what my intentions were, you know what my intentions were, and I believe that you will do what's right for your game, and I've shared my thoughts about what should happen, and you have too. Been honest with you this whole game, and I think that's it. I think there's nothing much left to say.
So I tried backdooring you. I'm really glad that we were able to get to this point from that point, because that takes a lot. Same that Christian said, it takes more than a lot. We spoke about our intentions, we spoke about what we would do if we were in certain positions, and I've been honest with you. Even while I was trying to backdoor you, I was continually honest with you. And so you take me, that's great. If you take Christian, that's great. We all three deserve to be here, and whoever wins, I'm happy at that point. So, yeah.
All right. Well, that is time to vote. Brody, cast your sole vote to evict, face to face.
I had a thought somewhat early in this game of someone I wanted to sit next to at the final 2, and as much as I want to sit next to Dylan just with the chaos of us being at each other's throats and sitting next to each other at the end, I have to go TM Christian.
All right, Dylan, you have been evicted from the Big Brother house. congratulations, you have made it as far as you can make it in the game of Big Brother. At the end of this final round, one of you will be crowned the winner of Big Brother 18 Unfinished Business. So here's how this is going to work. You will each have a chance to address the jury, talk about your game, give a little spiel about why you deserve to win. Then we will go along the couch. The jury will get a chance to address you, ask questions, and the like. And then after that, you will get a chance to make closing statements. Our jurors will come to the library, vote for a winner, have a little chat with me, and be cute. And then we will crown the winner of Looks Big Brother 18. Christian, you are first.
All right. Coming into today, I know about my perception from people I've played with, from production. Everybody knows that I am probably one of the craziest, stupidest, most idiotic players to ever play any Luke's Big Brother or Survivor game. I want to change that. And knowing that it's an all-star cast, y'all fit the bill, and it was a hard game. I had to change, and I did. I started round one. I learned from my mistakes in all past games, and I let people move first, and then I took advantage. So, just for example, round one, I let Josh and James just start, something. They started throwing out stuff. I piggybacked off of that, took advantage of what they were putting forward. That's why I did most of this game. I did a lot of psychological warfare as well. I appealed to people's emotions, and I'm sorry if y'all think that's, bad game, but I think I need to take every chance that I could get. I took every nuance that I could get, and I tried to appeal to people to make them think about me in a certain way to where they keep me. So I made sure Brody thought I was weaker at some points. I made sure people thought I was more empathetic, driving on emotions rather than game. So when I cried, that was game. When I was about to blow out Brody, that was game. I was appealing to Miss Dee. I wanted Miss Dee to be number one with me, and I'm pretty sure Miss Dee was number one with me because of the emotional warfare that I did play. And I'm sorry I played like that, but I felt like I wanted to win this game so bad, and I wanted to play it hard, and I wanted to put forth that. But not only that, I won competitions, I won a lot of vetoes. I won 2 HOHs, I won 4 vetoes.
I can get a count for you.
And to top that off, in the top 7, I knew every single person who went home, and I threw every competition in the top 7 because I knew that I was being brought to the final 2 no matter what. If you didn't see, I let Brody win the final 3, and I know that I played a holistic game rather than based off of one-dimensional kind of thing, competition, strategy, social. I think I played it all, so that's it.
Thank you, Christian. I'll give a quick count. Okay. Christian, had 2 heads of household, and 1, 2, 3, 4 powers of veto. For Brody, we have 1, 2, 3 heads of household, and 1, 2, 3 powers of veto. Okay. All right, cool. Brody, you're up.
First off, congrats on making the jury. I totally didn't expect to be here, especially given some of the events that went down today, and I'm very happy to say that I've gotten here based on having to kind of think on the fly and work with what was given to me and not necessarily what I came in hoping to do. My entire plan coming into today was to float for the first 5 rounds and just build relationships with people, and I think I did a great job of that to where I was able to talk to just about anybody in this house and feel safe. I think that was one of the reasons that Dylan said he came after me when he did, because he felt that I was safe, and Laura said the same thing. They felt that I had people on all sides, and that was my entire intention leading up to that point. However, that was the point in which I wanted to kind of turn it into my game and do what I wanted to do and kind of take out the people who were threats to me. But given the situation in which I got thrown on the block and backdoored, I didn't really get to follow the plan in which I had planned for the day. So it took a lot of improvisation and thinking on my feet and being able to use those connections which I had already established to my advantage going forward. First by saving myself from that back door, and then by creating like this atmosphere to where everyone still felt safe with me despite putting me on the block and voting for me. And then in our alliance with Christian, I knew I was the 4th. I knew that since early on in the day. At least I felt that way, even if not. And I knew that getting to the end would be very difficult, especially the way things turned out and me having to fight from behind because I wasn't able to take people out earlier. And the fact that I was able to get here and kind of pick apart the people that I knew would not take me and would not trust me to get here, I think says a lot about my game and how I was able to really play to my strengths, which today was my social game. My social game was really everything that my game had today. If I didn't have a social game, nothing else I do, nothing, no other move, no other strategy could have come into play today. And so I think Christian played a phenomenal game. I don't want to take away from him. I think we're both very deserving, and it comes down to what you appreciate more. I'm ready for any questions you have, and I want to hear what you have to say.
All right, thank you, Brody. And with that, we'll move to the jury. Let's start with Jessica.
So, when, like in that final vote, right, where y'all kept Brody over me, I know that like before that we had talked about final 2 for us at one point, and I final 3 with us at one point, me and Dee Dee. Had y'all known like a while before that y'all were gonna vote me out on that? Like if it came to that?
I'm glad you asked because I wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
Your vote was super hard because we were at a point where we had our 5-man alliance solidified. Yeah. Dylan, I don't know if you knew about that alliance. There was a 5-man alliance and you were in the top 6. And you were gonna go home at the top 6 if you didn't win. But you won. So what I drove my vote off of was I trusted you both. I trusted you a little bit more, but you didn't win a single comp.
This is true.
And I needed protection from people who would win comps.
Yeah.
I didn't trust Logan as much as I did Ms. Dee or Brody or Dylan, and I needed to make sure they would win comps, and they all trusted me, so I didn't have to win comps.
Yeah.
And I needed people who won comps and trusted me to get Logan out. That was basically it.
Yeah.
So that was the main thing. Like you weren't the ideal person for that.
I was just wondering. No, my feelings are hurt. I'm all good.
Could you each please articulate the most crucial vote to getting you to where you are?
For me, I think it's a fairly obvious vote, and that was the vote in which I was kept 4-2 when I was blindsided. I think that was the round that really highlighted my game in essence, because I was able to take a situation which I should not have been able to get out of and turn it into not only staying, but a positive long term, to where I was now seen as the weak link out of the people left and that I needed other people to survive. And I think if that doesn't happen, then there's a good chance that I have to fight and claw every inch of the way to the end. And where this happened and no one voted for me, no one gave me a chip in the bucket, where otherwise I think I am not ending close to the top. So I think if that vote doesn't happen, not only am I not in the game, but I don't think I'm able to work the game to my advantage at that point moving forward the way necessarily I did afterwards because of that vote. Does that make sense?
Can I ask what vote was a 6-4 in the pre-jury?
Yeah. Grace.
Getting Grace out, Jessica was up against her. Jessica was one of my many people I was very close with. I knew I had to get a certain amount of votes. It was 10 people. And if I could get 6, we had majority. I gathered all 6, but that was like the most calculated. Like I knew every single number for every vote in the pre-jury, except for the one where Jessica flipped on my HOH and she voted out Mac. That was the only one. But when you said vote, that was vote, but I automatically thought of the time when we put Mitch up. I had enough leeway with James to make sure that Mitch goes up if I use the power of veto, but he didn't want me to use the power of veto. So what did we do? I got Jessica to use her power. I am forced to use the veto, and Dylan staged a rock, paper, scissors. It was a stage rock, paper, scissors where Dylan automatically wins. and that was where Jessica stays on the block, she stays, Dylan gets off, and he's safe, and then we go into another one where we get Mitch out.
So I was all playing.
That was all planned. The rock paper scissors was planned.
6.
And I was the one. I can say that was a community thing. It was us 4 planning that, but I was the one that made Mitch be the backup. Like James wouldn't have done Mitch if I had not convinced him.
So I'm kind of like a complex jury member because in my ideal situation, I would want someone in the final 2 who I have a genuine bond and in-game friendship with, right? And where I may have that with both of you out of the game, I just didn't feel it in the game. So if someone was sitting up there, it'd be instant vote, but it's not like that. It comes down to who played the better game for me, and I'm still making my decision as this jury proceeds. Brody, you were saying that you were really only playing your social game, and if you didn't have that, you would have nothing. I kind of disagree because you won a crap ton of challenges, and you're basically a challenge beast in that regard, so don't downplay that part of yourself. And as a jury member, I love that. I would almost vote for who wins the most challenges because I think that's the most impressive thing in a person is being able to win a challenge, like on the fly, what are the rules, okay, to win. And both of you are extremely good at that, and y'all are tied actually in challenges won. So that makes it more difficult for me to decide who is better. I did connect an ounce more with Brody whenever you did decide to help me out and vote with Jessica to keep me in. And I appreciated that so much, that you were willing to work with me even though I had no power in the game. I had nothing to offer you, basically, except for future allegiance. And I appreciated that. And I feel like everything you did say to me was genuine and honest, and you were the whole game. On that same token, Christian, you were the same. You were super honest, and I was nervous coming in because of our history, but you made it clear we don't want to bring back past history into the game. So, I just have a question for Christian. What makes your game undisputably better than Brody's?
My game, as opposed to Brody's, I feel like Brody floated for the first half. I feel like I had absolute control of the first. How many rounds were before the jury? 5. I had absolute control for the first 5. Everyone told me what was going on in the first round. I knew where all the powers were. Ms. Dee actually had the Miss Jetson. She shared that with me. I knew where that Mitch had the other one. I knew that Jessica, and I knew everything. And I knew where the votes were laying. I knew what was going on at every single point of this game. I knew Jessica was the only time I did not have absolute control was when Jessica voted, but she voted out of self choice. So I couldn't change that. So that's when Mac went. But I definitely feel like I played a controlling game. And that's the game I want to play. I want to play a game where I know that I have control over what my alliances are, what my position in the game is, and that's what I did for the most part of this game. And to top that off, that's why I threw competitions at the end. The reason I didn't care about comps was because I was relying solely on my strategy and social game. But I had won competitions in the early game to put me in a good spot.
Can I clarify something very quickly? I think I used a very poor word choice when I said floated. What I meant by that is just that it was a fully social game. I wasn't trying to push any votes a certain way. I wanted to kind of get a feel of where everyone's head was at early in the game so that later on in the game, I knew what their natural tendencies were, and I could appeal to that and benefit myself with that. I think it was a very poor word choice to use floaters on my part, so just wanted to clarify.
Sorry.
No.
No, you're fine. Yeah.
I have a personal question because I'm also still trying to make my decision, and so as someone who felt like a personal pawn for your entire alliance. I want to know why I should be swayed to vote for each of you, because anytime you need a scapegoat, I was up there. And so I want to know like what makes me want to be able to vote for you based on being the scapegoat. And Brody, I respect every time that we heard each other's names, we told each other, or at least I did. I feel like you did every time you heard my name. I feel like, Christian, you saw that that worked with Brody, and so the last time when you knew that I was going home, you came up to me and you're like, just letting you know, it's you, which is fine on the last time, but, you know, it doesn't necessarily weigh in with doing it every time that you heard it throughout the game. So I just want to know, as the personal pawn scapegoat for your alliance, why you think that I should vote for either of you.
I didn't use you as a pawn. I wanted you out because you're too good. That was the full reason. I don't think it's any like lie. I think everyone who was aligned with me knows that I was never aligned with you, and I was scared of you because your social game, the way you interact with people, out of everyone on this jury, I can't read you. I can't read you. So
have you met Laura?
Laura was actually like number one with me until that whatever. But I couldn't read you. You were the biggest threat in the game to me, and I think everyone knows that. Like even when it was you versus Ryan, I wanted you out. I thought you were the bigger threat. And it's not anything to Ryan. It's your bigger threat to me, my type of gameplay, if that makes sense. So you weren't a pawn to me. I wanted you out every single time, but I let other people choose what they wanted because I needed to keep trust. And what was the second part of that question?
I don't think I have a second part.
Okay. When you said I saw that worked with Brody, I don't know what you're talking about. I was honest with you and Ryan for like any time that I talked to y'all. I don't know why I would tell you that you're going home when you're not.
I'm saying this was like not even a question, this was just me stating my own personal stance. That Brody and I had talked at the beginning that anytime we heard each other's name, we would tell each other. I feel like we tried to talk about being honest with each other. So anytime Brody ever heard my name and vice versa, he would be like, hey, I heard your name. And I'd be like, okay, cool. And I would do the same thing with him. And the only time that you did that, which I know is not the only time you heard my name. I know we didn't have a pact like that, but I think you saw that it was working with Brody and that I was gaining trust with him. And when I was standing in here right before the round where I went home and I was with Logan, you came out and you were like, I want to be honest, just like I've been with you the whole entire game, and I just want to let you know that I'm not saying you weren't honest, but that was just like the first time you came out and were like completely blunt about it being me, and I knew that wasn't the first time that you had heard my name. It's the only reason why I mentioned that.
The reason that it was the first time I told you that was because every other time I threw your name out and it wasn't going to be reciprocated into you getting out. Does that make sense? So I wouldn't tell you that I threw out your name if I was the one that threw out your name. I think that piggybacks off of Brody. Brody was closer with you at some points than I was. And I apologize that we weren't close, but I think that's what it stems from. But that's my answer.
When it comes to you being a pawn, my intention with voting to save you and Ryan and flipping on the people I've been working with the whole game was because I felt like, and maybe this was misguided at the time, but I felt like I was kind of on the lower end of the totem pole on that side. And I felt like within the 4 people I trusted most, I felt like I was at least 3rd or 4th on everyone's list. And so I saw when Logan approached me with this and you both came to me with this idea, I saw it as an opportunity to potentially change the game and change who is in power in the game. And I think it actually had a very good effect in doing that, which is why so many people got so scared, because I think it did shift the power dynamics of the game, even though it didn't last long term. And then what happened is once we lost power, and I think Dylan, you'd won the next one because that's when I went up. You won the next HOH, and there was no way we could potentially continue doing that while, like, given the whole fiasco that happened between both of you going up and you coming off and me coming up. I wanted to keep you around as long as possible and work with you as long as possible because I saw you as a way to wedge the people who were closer with each other than they were with me. I wanted to take you as far as possible. Same with Jessica. I wanted to take both of you because I saw you as a way to separate the two and have the numbers to vote them out and have two clear sides that no longer can work with each other because they don't have the people they were closest to. Christian and Ms. Dee were closest. I was closer to Christian than Christian was with Logan, and Ms. Dee was closer with Logan than Logan was with Christian. And everyone had their two people. And I knew that 4 was very powerful in the game, and I knew that I was not the top there. And so my ideal was to use you, and not use you, but have you as an ally and work with you to create that wedge. But what ended up happening is just the game did not play out with the HOHs to where that was possible. So I fought to keep you as much as I could without sacrificing my own game in those moments.
So my vote will be based on gameplay, but I do have questions about personal things. But I'll first want to know if you, and for both of you, what regrets do you have about the game?
I have a lot of regrets, at least in the way I reacted. And I think there are regrets in the sense that they were not appropriate necessarily, especially when I was blindsided. But I think inadvertently they did help my game in a way. But I still regret the action because I think I could have done the same thing without the outburst and the action. And as much as I wanted to play it up for TV, the immediate reaction of when I was put on the block was very real and raw for a second, and I kind of realized what I was doing and tried to cut back because I didn't think that was not only not fair to the people I was screaming at, but also not fair to myself and everyone here who's just trying to have fun. When it comes to gameplay regrets, my only regret is really not being, I feel like I made a lot of alliances that were supposed to go a long ways. And I felt like towards the end I started getting pinched, and I felt bad for having to cut off these alliances that I promised Final 3 and Final 4 because I wanted to work with all these people, but there was no way I could get them to work together. My ideal group was not possible, and so I made different groups with a bunch of different people knowing I wasn't going to be able to hold all of them together. So I think that's my only game regret that's not like a personal reactionary regret.
Coming into this game, I have like played in such a way that I have so many regrets in my old games that I can't even count them all. Like there's no number. And I wanted to come into today and change that. I wanted to play for myself and change the way I feel about my game and leave the game with no regrets. Even if I got out first, with no regrets. I wanted to have nothing that I would look back on and say, I should have done it differently. And the way things turned out, I would have tried to have it differently, but looking back on it, it got me here, and I don't think I would have done anything differently. I think I played the best possible game that I could ever play, and I'm proud of it. I can honestly say I am.
And did you know he was throwing comps?
I did at certain times, and I think he didn't realize that I was throwing comps early, and I don't think I realized he was throwing as many comps late. I knew early on that if I were to win challenges early, there's no way anyone would see me as anything other than a challenge threat, and there's no way I could build those relationships as well without my name coming up. So, namely, the one I think I had to throw the most was the plank challenge. I ran at Christian hoping to drop mine purely because I knew if I won that, it could potentially put me in a bad situation and make me a challenge threat and someone viewed differently than how I wanted to be viewed at that time. So I didn't realize he was throwing as many as he did. I assumed, I knew he was safe. I knew he didn't think he had to win. And while I understood that, I also knew going down the stretch that I had to win to get myself to this position because I couldn't trust anyone given the fact that everyone else had someone else above me on their list. And not that I don't think I was there, but like I said before, I think I was third or fourth on everyone's. And so I knew going into the final 5 that I had to basically win a challenge every round to get to this point, and I did that and made sure I sat here at the end and was able to guide the end game. Because if not, I don't think there's a way in which I sit here with the people that were left in the game at that point.
And did you two have a final 2?
Yes, we did. And I do not remember the exact time in which we made it, but it was fairly early on.
There was one initial time and then one time we like reinvigorated it. I knew that if I had made a final 2, both of you bring me. But I would have brought you, actually. Because
and I knew that.
Yeah.
And I knew that's why
she had made it earlier.
And that's why I was so scared of leaving you two together in the game, which is why I didn't take you off the block at Final 4. Because even if you were telling me the truth, I didn't want the potential of Miss Dee being in this game at Final 3 with us two, because I knew I was not getting to the end that way unless I won.
And I didn't want you to take me off the block because I would have had to show my cards to you two.
If we're final 3 and I win out, I would have brought it.
And I had an idea, given the previous events of me going up on the block where Christian or Logan did not, that I was not going to be the one that was there long term.
So when backing up, just to confirm something before I say what I have to say, you said, Dylan, I don't know that you knew that or not. There was a final 5 and I was the 6th. Can we name those 5 people? Is that acceptable?
Yeah, 5.
Who were they?
Me,
Y'all 2,
Miss
Dee,
Brody, Logan, Jessica.
Okay.
We were the coup.
Mm-hmm.
The coup.
It was the people that voted to save me and myself.
It formed that round, and that is when we voted out Ryan.
Yes, correct.
That was the round it formed.
So your final 2 with me since round 1 meant nothing.
I will say this.
I'd love to hear.
My final 2 with you, since round 1 was after Miss Dee's, my ideal final 3 was me, you, Miss Dee. And I had always planned to throw the final 3, but I would have taken Miss Dee. I never used you in any way. I always made sure you were informed.
I will stop you right there because you would have used me if I would have beat Brody in the final competition. You'd have thrown him. And guess who would have taken you to final 2? Because you and I had him up final 2. So you would have used me to get to final 2, so you would have used me.
If you want to say throwing comps to let people bring me, as using, yeah. That was my strategy, to let people think that I'm with them, and I am, but I was with everybody. So, no matter what, anyone's bringing me. That's the thing. So if you win, you bring me. If Brody wins, he brings me. If Miss Dee wins, she brings me. If Jessica wins, she brings me. But the fact that I had that with so many people, the fact that I had that with so many people on the jury should be noted and admired. I think that Laura also would have brought me until the point where we voted out Ryan? Yeah, that was the round right before she started blowing up. The fact that 5 people from the jury, 4 people from the jury, and Brody would have taken me to a final 2 should be noted. I think all of y'all would have taken me.
Can I add on to this and kind of counter? And I think while that's an admirable game, I played a different style game that instead of having to make my own final 2s with everyone, I was able to play off the final 2s and final 3s that existed in the game and kind of use those to my advantage, knowing that at some point these big groups that were together have to fracture and break apart. And I kind of was always trying to stay right in the middle. It's why I kept you around so late, because I knew if I didn't have you, there's no way I'd break up the trio that went out before you and Christian. And so there were different times throughout the game in which I had to really use the knowledge I had gained from just kind of watching all day. I think that was the benefit of the first half of my games. I was able to watch how people interacted with each other, which I don't usually do. Usually I'm too busy trying to force my own agenda in a game and too busy trying to do what Brody thinks is best for his game. And today I was able to sit back, see what was going on around me, and then use that to my benefit later on in the game, not necessarily the first time I saw it.
So we will do closing statements. We start with Christian first, so we'll start with Brody this time. And rest into the rooster now.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I feel like I came into this game with an agenda and was able to really play to my strengths throughout the day, which are not typically my general strengths that I would have in a game, but today I was able to play a different style of game that I don't usually play. Anytime there was a comp that I needed to win, I was able to win it, and I was able to use kind of the different alliances that I worked with and saw throughout the day to my advantage, and use those comps to kind of break down those alliances how I felt necessary and how I felt I could get to the end of the game. I'm going to stop so the results keep going. So.
I played a straightforward but also full game. I played from round one and I was able to have a lot of control in this game for the majority of it. I think if you're rewarding somebody on who made the most impact on the game, I think it would be me. I put strategic, social, and competitive play into this game, and even though you may see my game as very, bitter in the fact that I used people, I've taken that as a way to counteract how I've played in the past. People have backstabbed me, betrayed me. I've never had solid alliances. I never have. This was the first game, and I wanted to play a game like that to where I had no regrets, and I just played hard. And I apologize if I, went too hard at sometimes, if it got personal in any way. But I also want to say that you two, we never worked together, and I don't want that to affect your vote. I think holistically, I worked with y'all when I had to, and I worked with y'all when it was beneficial to moving me forward as well as y'all. I think that also, Logan, I think your social game is the best in the game. That is also a reason why I would keep saying, hey, I don't know where Logan's at. That was because you were able to talk to so many people, and the way that you garnered so much power in the game like that, and you got Brody and those two kind of on your side. I'm sorry. I think that's admirable. Your social game is amazing, and I think that needed to be stated. Ms. Dee, I love you so much. I didn't think we would ever be able to work together, but had so much fun. Jessica, I think same thing. It was amazing. And Dylan, our whole game, we had you deceived. No.
Yeah.
You worked with me. I tried to integrate with you with other people, and I told you were good with me and my people, and I tried to let you branch out and go and work with Michaelyn, stuff like that. And I know that you had an amazing game. You made me so happy to be in a game where I could have a person who I could bounce ideas off of. I think that the way I had an alliance with you and a couple others, it was just kind of like a breath of fresh air based on my other games. I didn't really have alliances like that. So,
Won't happen again.
That's it.
Okay.
All right, and with that, it is time to vote. Jessica, you're first with me. Everyone else, line up. Once again, congratulations to both Brody and Christian for making it to the final two in an all-star game of Big Brother. This is especially difficult to do, so congratulations. I want to thank you all for a great game of Big Brother. I had a blast. I hope y'all did too. I think there were a lot of twists and turns in the game, and I think we have some good episodes cooking. And also another thank you to our film crew. The Lord's work, Jessica. Great work. So exhausting. I cannot tell you how thankful I am. It's such a it means the world to me. Okay.
Let's give it up for Taylor.
So, good luck to you both, even though I know we're having this.
Yep. Knew that was coming.
Here we go. I will start with the most recent juror and go down to Ryan. Okay. First up, Dylan, you voted for Christian to win. Oh, that's so awkward. Dee voted for Christian to win. Logan voted for Christian to win. Jessica voted for Brody to win. Michaelyn voted for Brody to win. Laura voted for Brody to win. That's 3 votes Brody, 3 votes Christian, 1 vote left. Ryan voted for the winner of Big Brother 18, Brody. Congratulations on a great season.